My countdown, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 continues, and we are on Avengers. Whoa, okay. Yeah, back to what I was saying. We are on Avengers Age of Ultron. And with that all being said, spoilers. Duh. That is your warning. So, immediately when the movie starts, the team is all together, basically taking out a Hydra facility and whatnot, and then, and then like when the twins get out, like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Scarlet Witch, makes Tony Stark see some crazy shit, like some crazy visions, and he sees all the Avengers basically dead, but like beneath his, right at his feet, and shit. When they showed that in the teaser, like where you see Captain America's shield broken in half, misleading as hell. I thought that was gonna happen in the movie, but it was just a vision. So I was like, haha, we got you. Fuck you, Marvel, for doing that. But and that basically motivates him to create Ultron. And man, Ultron is probably the most dangerous weapon Tony has ever created. He's created a lot of dangerous weapons, but this one takes the cake. This one is the champion of dangerous weapons that he made, and a weapon that has a mind of its own. On top of that, I mean, that's what makes it a lot more threatening. But people did not really like Ultron all that much. Maybe because they had their hopes for the movie were way too high. My hopes were high too, but not for Ultron himself. I was just like, they were pretty standard. So that's why he didn't bother me very much in the movie. So I'm saving all my chips for Infinity War when Thanos steps in. Yeah, I know this movie's gonna be great, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I liked how they had, how they act like a family and act like friends, and then, or they are basically friends, and then they're hanging out, having a good time, they're partying, and the party's over, and I think in this movie, I think this might be my favorite Stan Lee cameo. I think it has to be. It definitely has to be. And when it gets to the hammer, lifting contest where we see who can lift the hammer, it's hilarious. And what makes it even more hilarious is when we see Bruce Banner, try to lift it. Like, okay, if Hulk couldn't lift it, what makes you any different? I mean, come on. And then it was Captain America's turn, and then you hear the hammer move just slightly, and then Thor's grin turns upside down. Like, what the fuck? And then we see that Cap couldn't move it, and then Thor had a laughter of relief, and then and then Ultron, makes his entrance, and then basically we find out that he's bad news, and then the team finds out that Tony created him, and then that sets up a little bit of tension there. And then Ultron snatches up Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, and he manipulates them to be part of his little his little scheme, his little crusade. You know what I mean? But the one interesting vision, like for me, is when she made every other member see, like what was going on in their heads. Like the one thing that really was interesting is when she did that to Captain America, and then we see that his fear was basically where he's not needed anymore, where the everything is okay, like no dangers, no threats whatsoever, no threats for him to battle or anything like that. Everything is just fine. And even though that's what they're striving towards, but I guess that's his fear, where that people, that they will come, like where he basically makes basically the world peaceful, and he's not needed anymore. In fact, that's his his deepest fear, and I'm like, that's an interesting fear to have. And I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to see what Banner saw, because that was off screen, and then when we saw him again, he was Hulk, and then Hulk was just pissed about whatever the visions that he saw. And I would have liked to have seen what was going on in his head, what made him Hulk out at that moment. But that battle between him and Hulk in the Hulkbuster, yeah, replay value. I really enjoyed that, and man, I can watch that scene over and over again. And then we get to, and then I'm just gonna jump right to the birth of Vision, because basically Jarvis was basically destroyed by Ultron, and Ultron was making a, I guess a basically a vessel for him to, that would make him whole, where he doesn't have to go anywhere else and from machine to machine and whatever, and that's pretty cool. And then Thor's having these visions, and then he sees the glimpse of all the Infinity Stones put together. I mean, I got crazy goosebumps when that happened, and while everybody's teaming up to basically basically destroy this body that Ultron was going to use and whatever, and then Thor comes in, and then he basically brings Vision to life, and the scepter that Loki was given. People call it Loki's scepter, but I'm gonna call it the scepter that Loki was given by Thanos. That was one of the Infinity Stones, and then it was the Mind Stone, and then it's placed in Vision's head. So, like, that is interesting. and then we find out, and then while the team is finding out if he's a good guy or is he a bad guy, is he Jarvis or what? But he's not Jarvis. He's just Vision, pretty much. And then where at the end of Vision's speech, he basically says, "We need to go," and then he hands Thor his hammer, and everybody looks at him like, and everybody in the movie theater mind went to go see it was like, oh. So it was basically like, it was like the moment Vision made Thor his bitch in a way, without any intentions of making him his bitch. You know what I mean? And I will say that the relationship between Black Widow and Bruce Banner, I didn't really have a problem with. I mean, like, the way she was behaving towards him in the first movie, like, where she acts a certain way around everybody else, but with him, she basically acts totally different. And I thought it was because she didn't want to piss him off or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of an attraction there. I'm not saying that I would have gone in that direction, but it didn't bother me like everybody else was bothered by it. But I mean, it was okay for what it was, I guess. It didn't last long anyway, so we can stop bitching about it. But yeah, and I liked how I liked how the third act went down, like where they had, like where it was actually like a teamwork, and then Nick Fury jumps in and helps them at the last minute, this help get everybody to safety, or at least more people than less of them, you know what I mean? And when it comes down to where Iron Man has to put a stop to what Ultron was doing, but he couldn't do it himself. He needed Thor to basically help him. I like that, where the final act was basically a teamwork and wasn't just one Avenger, saving everybody while the other teams, while the rest of the team was doing other things. You know what I mean? So it was actually a teamwork. So a few Avengers go their separate ways. Thor goes to God knows where, probably another planet, obviously, because if you've seen the teaser for Thor Ragnarok, yeah, and then Thor has to go back to Asgard, because he senses that something's going on there, and yeah, it's something actually is, and then so we have very limited members in like for like the rest of them. And then I forgot to mention in my Winter Soldier review that how awesome Falcon is. He is an awesome, just an awesome addition to the team. And seeing him here, again, is pretty awesome. And when it builds up to where Captain America is ready to say Avengers Assemble, but he just says Avengers and then cuts to the credits. Like, what a dick move, Marvel. Why would you cut away before you said Assemble? Okay. Maybe we're just saving that for like when in Infinity War when they fight Thanos. He better say it. He better say it. And then we get, speaking of Thanos, and then we have one end credit scene where he puts on his gauntlet and he says, "Fine, I'll do it myself." I mean, because he's been having everybody trying to get Infinity. He sends everybody fetching Infinity Stones for him and whatever. So I guess everyone failed miserably. Loki failed in that, and Ronan went rogue, and so he's like, okay, I'm just gonna do this myself. So that, with that all being said, this gets 4. Yeah, I'd say it gets 4. Intimidating, for intimidating armies of Ultron out of 5. Yeah, 4 solid. And I mean, I didn't have a problem with this movie. It became, like when I watched it again, it became better to me. And I can see why people, had problems with it, because their hopes were way too high. Like, all their chips were thrown into this movie, but I'm saving mine, like I said, for Infinity War. That's where it's all going. And Infinity Gauntlet, if that's what they're going to call the next Avengers movie, the second half of Infinity War. Yeah, all my chips are going to those movies. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed my review for this movie, make sure you thumb up the video. Click subscribe if you're a newbie to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.